process-driven software engineering since forever, right? In a team, you want somebody to be a designer, somebody to be an architect, all of that, right? There has to be a plan made. There has to be architecture done, design done. Somebody has to approve all of that, create specs. So there is a process, right? Now, a typical vibe coding world, there is no process. You just take something and just get it out, right? Nobody involved. But then if you have to move to a process-driven world, there has to be some standards, correct? So that's what now the push is going towards, which is agentic way of doing things. So you have multiple different agents, each kind of representing different skill sets, different roles, right? And that's how we go about building software, right? At least that's what we would try and do. So now, what I'm doing here was trying to take that same idea and connect it with a larger. Just a second. All right, sorry. So what I would want to do, or at least what I'll try and demonstrate here, is how can we make this a bit of a process-driven. So what I mean by that, now let me share a screen. Can we integrate the entire life cycle of software development, right, in a continuous agentic way of development? Okay. So what happens typically, right? You have an issue that is raised, right? So I'm now any process-driven company would have some sort of a system that does things, right? Either it is a Jira, which is your requirements and issue tracking system, or it could be GitHub. Like in the case of what I am doing, I've made GitHub as the core issue tracking system, right? From where we will trigger a issue. So what I want, when a new issue is opened, right, we need to analyze that, right? That's what will typically happen in any company, right? A new issue comes in, we need to analyze it and come up with a spec about what is this issue all about. Do a bit of a analysis of the existing system in case of a brownfield kind of a project. And we are talking about an existing project where this system is being added. It will typically work with a greenfield also, but let's look at something which is already there. So you get a issue, right? It should take that in, go through entire understanding of the system and come up with a spec of what exactly we need to do. So now I hope you can see this. So the way it should happen is an issue comes in, phase one is actually analyzing that and coming up with spec. Somebody should review that spec. Now we can say that that's the product manager or whoever it may be, right, in the system. And that person approves it, right? Then that goes into the design phase, right? Now we need to actually start designing it in terms of like what changes needs to be done, right? And what all, if there are multiple repositories that needs to be changed, then what all changes have to be done across the various different repositories. So all of that needs to be done here, right? And then the third thing is after that, let's plan the delivery, right? Here, what we are saying is take that, then the implementer will actually review that, right? Just a sec. Somebody is asking me for something. Yeah. So implementation, then in that case, like figure out what changes needs to be done, then review it, test it, ship it, deploy it. Okay. This is the entire process that I would want us to actually completely automate in a agentic manner, right? Uh, I would definitely want to take a quick check. Is this, are you guys following this? Any question immediately that comes to your mind? Uh, if you want to just unmute yourself, I'll just maybe take 1 minute on that so that I'm not like leaving you too far behind. Anybody has any questions right now? Just raise your hand. All right.
No, Jerry.
Okay,
Jerry,
cool.
one question from my side.
Yes.
Jerry, what does this factory means?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good question. So, what are we saying when we say a factory, right? So, if you look at software industry, right, uh, we produce code, right? That's what we do at the end of the day as part of the software engineering, right? Our job is to produce code that goes to the production, correct? Now, humans were doing that coding, correct? So whether, I mean, if you say we were ultimately at the end of the day, every developer was just a robot all this while in some ways, right? Who was producing this code. They would manually write it, correct? Now, that is what every software company is eventually, a software factory. Now, if you compare that with a manufacturing world, right, where something gets manufactured, right, where we see a physical thing outside, right? While here we don't see, we see a digital output. We kind of never see that output. Ultimately, whatever is going on is being driven because of the code that is written. Now, honestly, in the software industry, there is this thought like uh, a manufacturing industry got completely driven by robots, correct? If you see any high-end manufacturing company, right, maybe a car manufacturing company, you won't see humans doing work what humans used to do earlier, right? You would just screw things. Now there are robots which do that, correct? Uh, what if software industry also does the same? That's the vision, correct? Why do I need a human being to do the actual bit of coding, which is nothing but in the manufacturing industry perspective, just screw मार रहे हैं, right? By writing code. Why should we do that? What if AI could do? What if bot could do that? Correct? That's the idea. That's the vision that every software company has now, if you ask them whether they admit or not, right? Because that gives extreme productivity. So now, how do we achieve that? And that's what is going to happen over the next couple of years, right? Our processes are going to go towards a place where every software company becomes a software factory, where uh, AI is actually producing the code, right? So now, what does that mean? Extreme automation end to end, right? And humans coming in to make critical decisions, right? Not the actual coding, but making decisions. That's the role of human beings now, right? What comes up with something, humans decides and says, go ahead, correct? And a lot of work will happen towards making this software factory more and more efficient as it goes. Like over the next 2, 3, 4 years, you will see a lot of tools created around it. Cursors and Claude are like the step one of that, right? That is that's the basic, you can say the robot piece of it. But how do you manage all of these robots to work together is the bigger piece, right? That's the next level of journey in software lifecycle. And you will see as human processes of software development has also evolved, right? From waterfall to whatever to now Scrum, Agile. We have tried to make that process as robotized as possible, right? That has been the aim ultimately, right? But it is impossible to make humans into robot. But now we have a new actual robot. What can we do with it now, right? So that's the aim, and that's the idea behind it. So I hope you get that vision. Uh, Tulsiram, you have your hand raised. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Jerry, I have joined late. I'm sorry again. I have a question. So, if at all there are different ways for a different problem, right? So, Jira ticket can be raised on basis on bug,
Hmm.
or can be raised on the on the requirement as well. So how does it decide like it has to go to the design phase or to the analyzing phase or not? So
Yes.
it enwrote by itself. The
Right. I'll show you. I'll show you. Ultimately, that's the beauty of having a very good LLM that can do all that. Just a second. All right. So the question is what phase it should go to, correct? Of course, that has
yes.
to be decided. Now, one high level phase is designed that, okay, or at least that's what we need, that any issue coming in has to be analyzed to figure out what it is, right?
Yeah.
So this is a typical orchestrator in any agent, right? Who's coming in, looking at what the issue is, and then figuring out what level of designing it out, and then actually planning the next steps on that, right? Now, this is true for anything, right? Whether it's a simple Jira issue or a new feature, anything, right? Uh, and then it will create multiple tasks under it. Uh, so forget about this. How would a typical any software company should actually follow something similar, right? When an issue comes in, analyze it, create subtasks of it assigned to people, each of them having different things to do, create design document around it, store that design document for future reference. All of this is something that we are supposed to do, but it's very hard to do today because of the time limitation. But if we have a factory, we could do all of that, right? So that's what I will show you, that it does all of that, right? And then eventually it will design, based on the design, it will create that many tasks depending on the size of the feature and then execute all of that. Okay. So this is what the overall idea is. Fair enough. Any questions on this?
No.
All right. Cool. So now, how do we go about doing this, right? So now, yeah, Mukesh.
So Jerry, every phase is also required kind of review, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, that is all, that will all have to be baked in, right? So now that's where I'll come to. How do we decide what should be the uh, what should be what should be done and what should be the phases of it, right? Every company can have their own way of thinking about this. There is no 100% perfect way of doing it. That okay, like you said, no, every bit of thing has to be reviewed. Some companies may say, no, I don't care. This only the final code has to be reviewed. It's up to them, right? So that actually has to be specced out in terms of what you need to do. Now, there is one thing that I think Pankaj had taken up earlier about OpenSpec, right? So we have this concept now of spec-driven development, right? What spec-driven development is all about is at any given point in time, create a spec it out, right? Document it out, and then go to the next level. Based on that document, somebody approves it, and then that goes in as an input to the next point, and then that's how we keep doing it, right? Now, this is our uh, holy grail of software industry anyways. Like if you think about the test-driven development, that is nothing but the aim was that it was always going to be spec-driven. But again, humanly impossible. Humans can't do it. But now AI can do it, right? So OpenSpec is one standard which has been specified, right? Where uh, it provides certain way of doing things, right? So what I have done is I have made use of OpenSpec, right? In terms of what the OpenSpecs the way of doing things is what will happen in this software factory. Okay, so it is kind of standards driven, right? So it typically takes in an issue when it comes in, then waits. Once it is ready, the spec is ready. It goes into spec-ready state. Then somebody has to approve it. Like there are a few gates I have defined here, right? Once the spec is ready, after the initial intake, somebody has to approve it, right? Then a planning is done. Architecture aspect of it is also taken out, like everything is done. And then it gets into the design ready state where it again waits for somebody to review it, right? So here you can say the spec is reviewed by the product manager, design is reviewed by the architect, right? And then design is approved, then implementer comes in, and then it would have design would have created a multiple level of tasks within that sub issues, and then implementer will approve, and it will go actually figure out what code changes to be done, come up with multiple sets of PRs, right? And then somebody has to do the code review against the approved design, test suite, right? And then eventually the PRs are kept there for merger, right? That I'm saying has to be humanly merged today, right? And we could ideally, if I had what I could also do is like, okay, if I have approved here QA is done successfully, go ahead and merge it into staging and then deploy and test it out. That also could be done automatically, right? So that's just an additional step that needs to be added. So these are the ways I will go about this. Yeah, Govardhan, any questions? You have,
Yes, Jerry.
yeah.
Yes, Jerry. Can agent analyze the existing code base? Means
Yes.
which service, which class, which database table,
Yeah.
or any configuration impacting by
Correct.
the requirement?
Correct. It
Okay.
is going to be, it is going to do that, right? That's the
Okay.
brownfield work that we are doing, and I'll show you that,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
Claude, that is Claude's by default feature, right?
Mm.
It will go and analyze the entire code, and based on the spec, it will figure out the exact code that has to be changed, right?
Okay.
That's something
So
that Claude today does. Yeah.
okay. Okay. Means impact also it will check, right?
Yes.
Means
Everything will change.
okay.
Yes. Of course, you would have to make your code
Agent. Okay. Mm.
you have to organize it better. So the way it works is Claude obviously tries to understand the code every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just Claude,
Yes.
but any coding agent. It tries to understand the code every time, right? And then based on that, it will have to do. So now there are certain ways of doing this in terms of how you document your code very well. And the good thing that happens is like as part of this process, as part of the OpenSpec process, every change is documented.
Okay.
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 So every other run can actually go through the document, relevant document, and it organizes it very well so that it can go through the relevant document and look at that code only, right? So over a period of time, your code becomes very much very well documented. The implementation becomes faster, right? There are many benefits of actually doing it this way.
Okay.
Implementation, I'm saying the implementation time for implementation becomes faster, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it
Yes.
can figure out. Yeah, Satya.
No, my point is that one currently last time Pankaj said na, there is a superpower plugin. If suppose we are integrated into other cloud or any our tools,
Yes.
then automatically while we are requesting on that time, it will analyze complete code base and
Yes.
it will give the suggestions. I observed this one also. This is the one Govardhan just now asked. It will understand what is currently implemented, the architecture and all. Then accordingly, it will suggest the code.
Yes.
I
You
want to
don't
add
need
that
the
one.
superpower plugin and all for that also. If you that just kind of that's the basic thing. Now superpower does
Yeah.
it better, right?
Better. Yes, yes. Yeah, adding it also. Yeah.
Yeah. But actually 4.8 and Fable and all, if you add, you don't even need that superpower and all. By default, the model is really, really good, right? So those are the core capabilities of the model, right? But yes, you are right. Superpower and all makes it much better for a lower end model. So yeah, Gordon, if you are using a lower end model, right? Even that will try and do code analysis and everything, right? But it may not do a good
Yes.
job of it, right?
Okay.
And then you might see that it is creating a lot of maybe bad code or irrelevant code. So then there are other plugins available which kind of adds more capabilities to that model in terms of a good coder, right?
Okay.
Good standards and all of that. Like that's what Satya was mentioning about Superpower plugin. So if you add that plugin, what it does is it just adds more prompts, right? Ultimately, it is all prompt engineering. Okay, so it adds more prompts for the code that is generated to be very, very precise, right? Or good standard and good quality. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, Ashish, one last question. By the way, who's this administrator? Since you are
No, my name is all saved with Ashish only, not administrator.
no, there is another administrator here. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, Ashish.
My question was, since you said we are starting with spec-based development, we already have been doing basically, if I could understand, if we directly put this cloud code or any other tool, what we have discussed in the past also, and if we want any kind of change in our, development or functionality, that has been already happening. It's like the other way around only because
Already happening. I mean, I didn't.
okay, by saying already happening is like currently what we are doing right now is if we are having plugins like Claude Code or
Right.
we are having a LLM mod like Claude, and
Hmm.
there we have configured in such a way that it is helping us out rather giving the exact table in the DB or giving the exact class in
Yes.
the code. So
Yes.
I mean to understand that it is, don't you think, I mean, is it the same thing which is happening right now? Because through that, if the project is in
Hmm.
maintenance phase, we can just directly go and jump in there, what is happening, what this class is, how it is behaving. We can do that if any sort of, changes, enhancements, or defects may come up. So
Okay.
I'm just correlating both the things because I could understand that it is one and the same thing. And
So
we have
what is
been
one and the same?
doing,
Like, I didn't understand what exactly you're pointing to. Are you saying that today it can generate good quality code? Is that what the point is?
no, since you said humans will be just only giving directions or
Uh-huh.
making decisions basically, to
Hmm.
be precise. So
Hmm.
if I understand well, any
Okay.
model can generate the code. We are
Hmm.
supposed to take the decisions, but at
Correct.
the same time, decisions can be taken if the model has find out that this is the exact behavior. This is
So
the
let me
method which
address
is.
that. Let me address that bit first. So you're saying that today that is what you're doing, right? You're giving prompt, it does something, then you take some sort of a decision on that.
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah,
Yes, absolutely. That is what is happening, and that is in a way we can say bit vibe coding plus agentic coding. That is what is going on there, right? So absolutely, that is the core thing that is going on. But now, if you think about it, in a team of four team members, right? Each of them have their own cloud code call out CLI or whatever, correct? That's how things are for you at the moment,
yes, yes,
right?
yes,
Now, Ashish is going about doing things one way, right? Sunil might be doing it another way, correct?
Mhm. Okay.
There is no standard in the way you do your prompting and the step-by-step decision making. There is no standard, right?
Yes, yes.
Or is there a standard?
No, no, no standard.
That's the typical thing, right? It is driven by the one who's doing it. They decide, right? Some people can just say approve, 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 and maybe the prompt they write isn't detailed. It just depends on each person's prompting skill in some ways. Correct?
Agree to it.
So now that ideally in any company in a software industry, a software project isn't a good thing, right? We always want to have standards, correct? Lack of standards uh, creates a lot of problems, right? It could simply be, how do I know who made these changes, what was the basis of those changes, and all of that. Correct? So what now the Claude and all this agentic coding does is allows you to push a lot of code like crazy, right? Everybody is just creating and pushing. Correct?
Okay.
And that's becoming a big problem in the industry now. So much of code is generated. People are just reviewing for the sake of it. You cannot review the code, right? That level of code which is being generated. Is this true for most of you, or do you differ with that?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
there.
Correct, Manu. And that's been the problem now, right? Everybody is busy just coding away and hundreds of lines of codes being created. It is not feasible to do it that way, correct? So now that is where we will now move to standardization. A simple thing is like, what should we review? Should we even look at the code anymore? Should we review the code? What's the point of reviewing the code when it is actually been done by the best coder in the world ever, right? Fable 5's code is not going to be wrong. What are you going to do in that review? It's a waste of your time, correct? So you have a huge amount of code to review. You cannot do a good job of it. You are just wasting time today, correct? So that's where we need to move to a better approach. So instead of reviewing the code, the aim is to review the spec, right? Make sure that your spec is right. You're given correct instructions, because AI is just a robot. It cannot make mistakes. That's his bug, to be honest. It cannot make a mistake. If you've told it to do something, it will do that exactly as it is. Correct? Now, depends on the capability of the models. Some models which are lower capable may do a half decent job, but something which is very good will do an excellent job of it. If you told it, your instructions means it should generate a code which is 1 plus 1 equal to 2, it is absolutely going to do that. It is never going to do 1 plus 1 equal to 3. It has no such capabilities. Correct? Human can do it, bot cannot. So all that we need to do now is make sure that the spec is really good. That's where our software engineers work is going to move towards, right? Not towards the code, but towards the spec. Make sense? So now all this effort, spec-driven development, if we call about it, is about that, right? Can we make it spec-driven and spec-reviewed and approved? Okay. I'll just take one last question before we'll move forward. We'll come back again. Yeah, Manu.
Yeah, I was thinking about the a kind of feedback loop or something like that, because whenever we are creating a spec as per this idea, when maybe at the level of PO or maybe at the next level, there can be some changes, some improvements, then the same has to be done anew. So this can also be integrated in this idea, right?
That's the uh, levels that you can add into this, right? I'll show you how it is currently. And see, that's why I said currently it follows the OpenSpec approach. Okay. Review, if it gives a review comment against it, it will definitely keep at least in that state till you approve.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, I've not tested it. For example, for every gate, right? Now, suppose you have come up with a spec, and it is what I've tested. It is sometimes it asks for a clarity, right? Depends on the issue. If I give clarity, it is now in that state itself till you approve. It will keep doing this.
Okay.
So that's now what you could also say that, okay, I've crossed the gate, I want to go back to the previous gate. It could happen. I'm sure we can make that thing happen in that, or should it be a new issue, or we'll have to think through, right, about how should we go about that.
Yeah. So I was thinking, as we were in discussion with the new task, and the design was changing and changing for a couple of times. So I was trying to correlate. Yeah.
Design was changing post the design approval.
Not approved, but we were discussing and refining it. So the ideas are getting changed. So maybe in the second level itself. So it's
Oh, that's okay, no? So that's the whole idea, right? Once I've come up with a design, correct here,
Mm.
right? Okay, sorry, I'll say design ready, correct?
Yeah.
Then I'm giving you the design for you to approve, right?
Yeah.
There you can keep on changing it till you approve,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
So this has happened, and then you give feedback to it. It will go back, redesign. And once things are ready, finally, all right, see, it will only move forward till once I give approval for it.
Yeah.
But if I give some other comment, it should redesign the whole thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how it will be. Yeah. Mukesh, yeah.
Yeah, just quick question. Without approval, what will happen? Let's say means no one is approved it. So till it means it's running again and again, or how, or
It will
I
be
believe it
waiting.
should be stopped
It
after
will be
approval.
waiting. No, it will be waiting, right? That's what it, right? Here it is waiting. Once it has done something, it will be
Okay.
waiting for you to actually put a comment of approval, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so these are the things. Now, there are two different, if you look at it from the architecture perspective, right? There are two different things. One is, okay, yeah. How did I, okay, now if we talk about controlling this, right? Claude, you can add the OpenSpec inside Claude as a skill. Okay. So what I could do is, are you able to see my Claude today? Now, Claude desktop. Okay, let me reshare. See, if I'm using Claude itself, then I could actually do it two ways. Now, this is my agentic development system, right? Which is also, it's kind of an agentic harness, right? So here, what I would do is I can add a skill, which is OpenSpec skill, all right? And then, Ashish, in your case, like what we said, here I could say like OpenSpec or something OPX, all right? Colon, whatever, explore, okay? And then give it the command, all right? Now, what you can do is you can mandate your team that everybody follows this approach. You don't just prompt. You say OPS explore and give an prompt. It will trigger a way of, it has its own prompt and everything built in. So it is going to come back with a response which is standard for everybody. You getting it? Right? And then
Yes.
you do the next step, then next step. So that's something that OpenSpec says that, hey, everybody in the team follows this approach. Correct? So that is one way of standardizing. Okay. The problem with that is, how do you control? Right? Everybody will say that, yeah, I'm going to do it, but they may do it, they may not do it. And it takes a huge amount of change management to make that happen. Right? So that's one aspect of it. Now, instead, what if this was automated, right? You don't wait for people to open their Claude code, put the issue in, and follow this /OPX and all of that, right? What if this could be automatically done? All right. That's the idea of this. What I'm trying to do here is in terms of the software factory. So it has two aspects. One is the OpenSpec as skills and agents. Another is a orchestrator. Who runs this? How do we control the states, right? Because somebody has to manually issue this one by one, these commands, correct? So now that has to be orchestrated out. Okay. So what the approach that I took was, can we use GitHub Actions. Now, I hope you're aware of GitHub Actions, right? It's kind of a workflow thing that is part of GitHub itself. Okay. What it does is it has multiple different features. It will wait for, say, a issue to be raised or a push to be made. Like if you're PR, you're merging a PR, it is triggered by various different actions, right? You can set that up. So now what I'm trying to do here is I'm using that concept. So now every software factory has a GitHub workflow, right? Which has a factory pipeline. So it has its own way of doing it. This is part of the GitHub Actions. So what I'm saying is that whenever an issue or something has been taken, right, use Claude Code to actually Claude CLI to trigger next set of actions. Okay, so you can think of it as like I have taken what a developer does on his own desktop onto GitHub Actions, right? Every developer will get its own VM where the code will be checked out and it will do the work. It will actually create Claude CLI. It will issue a command and get the things done, right? So there's a whole bunch of things. I'll not go into this. We can, I'll definitely share the code and we can probably discuss it one by one eventually, each of these things. But the idea is that you use GitHub Actions to actually control the entire workflow. All right. Yeah, I'll definitely take questions. Yeah, Tulsiram.
So what if there is a dependency on certain PR pull or actions that has to be taken depending upon the GitHub? So until unless if a certain team has worked upon a certain ticket only, it has to be a certain action, right? So there might be a dependency among the teams. So what about those decisions?
So typically what happens is like when you are creating a Jira issue, you are creating it almost like an epic, right? Which should create multiple subtasks, which may have dependencies with each other. Correct? That's what we typically do, right?
Yeah.
Now, if a larger epic has a dependency on some other epic, that's a different thing. You can actually even mention that that's your process, right? You would typically somebody has to manage that, but that also is possible. I think I've not explored that. But if you give a larger issue, it will eventually create sub issues and
Yes.
manage the dependencies within it. It has the possible capability of doing that, right? It takes care of that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So, all right. Now, what will happen is like, let me quickly show you a demo of this. So what I've done is there is a simple software that I've created, and then it has its own GitHub repo. Okay. So I'm assuming that you guys are all seeing my browser and whatever changes because it's kind of hard for me to see. Okay. Are you all seeing insurance app base repo? Anybody, can you confirm?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So now this is a typical Java code, right? Spring Boot and all that. So which I had generated earlier. So it was all wipe coded out, right? And it has its stuff. Now what I have done is in this now, I am going to add the factory, right? And a factory, it has its own certain ways of setting it up. First, there has to be a profile, which it describes this complete project. You can use, say, something like Claude, Fable, or something to actually generate this profile based on the existing code. Ask it to go through the code and come up with the necessary profile.json. So that's like a one-time activity that you can do. All right. And then what I've done is I've added this Claude skills into this. Okay. OpenSpec apply and all that. So I'll not go into the details of it, but it basically depends on the Claude software factory, which is there. All right. And then it has the GitHub Actions in it, the workflows, right? Which actually does the work of triggering. All right. Now, I'll show you what I did, like how it went. Like I created a new issue, okay, something like this. So there is one thing that it also does is like when you create a new issue, it gives a particular template. So you can actually add the requirements in a specific template. So this becomes the initial prompt, if you think of it, right? On Claude, you need to start with a prompt, right? So this becomes the prompt. It has multiple things that you need to put in. This is a standard template. You can override it. You can change this template for whatever you want, right? In your project. So this I'll show you like what I did here. So it first I gave it. So I just said that a button needs to be added in the users list. So I've got this page. I said that add a new, I don't know, the users, add a new add user button is what I wanted to achieve. So I just put a simple problem statement, and this entire issue has gone in here. Now, good thing with this is there is a now standard template of any issue that is being created. So that's also good for a project, right? Otherwise, people create issues in all different formats. Very difficult to then use any of that. So what it does is it immediately fires up the agent. For example, these are the agents that have run over a period of time, right? So what it does is it picks that up, then sorry, agent is ultimately what agent does is these are the this is the important thing. It installs Claude CLI, right? The way it works is it has seen a new issue which has been created, right? That triggers the GitHub action, right? It sets up the job. It requires the Anthropic credentials which I have set up. I'll show you where it has been. Then it actually creates a new VM. This is something that GitHub does, right? It creates a new VM on which it actually installs the Claude code. Now that is there, and it will use your credentials from here, which are set up somewhere. I'll show you. Then I have said that depending on the phase, use a particular model that you can because you don't want uh, keeping track of your models and all is the expenses and all is also very important. So it will choose which model to use, right? And then it will run the factory role. Multiple things here. Now here it has run the Claude Code action. Here it's basically doing a CLI and passing the prompt to it. Think of it like you are working in the CLI and you are prompting, right? And it has built a complete prompt, right? And then it will issue, and it has the entire code base and everything anyway available with the repository with which it is assigned, right? So it will not get that code any earlier, and so it will execute this entire prompt against that code, come up with what needs to be done, right? So this entire thing is happening here, and then it will generate another whatever output it has got, it will convert that into an issue and create that as a new issue. Okay, so let me show you that here. If you see, where is that gone? So we go through this particular issue. Not this. This did not work. So where is that? So it first went into the factory intake. Now there is a clever trick here. How does it know which state it is? So there is a concept of labeling, right, in Git issues. So what this does is every time something is done, it changes the label. That change of label triggers the next step, right? So that's the more of an engineering aspect of this harness. So now then it has come up with something. It went through that. It has created a new PR where it has figured out what changes to be done. It has created a spec, right? And every time it is giving you the spec. So it is asking me to go through this entire spec, understand it, and then review it and make sure that I approve it. Okay. So it puts some sort of discipline on me. So it has given me all the various scenarios, right? What needs to be done, when, then, and all that, right? So it becomes very verbose. Eventually, for it is good eventually, right? Because everything becomes proper documentation. Okay, and then it is asking me for approval, right? And what I did was, okay, here, let me go back. This is where we started. Then I gave all of this, and then I said approved. Okay, I would have merged that each of the PRs, like every spec is created as a separate PR, which you are supposed to merge back. So that way you have a complete history of things. So I merged it, I approved it, that triggered the next thing, right? So it has moved to spec approved. Now that triggered the next set of actions automatically. And what it did it was it created a whole bunch of tasks out of it. Like, okay, fine, this is spec is approved. Now I need to plan things out about how to actually implement this. So it created multiple different tasks automatically, right? It showed me, and it has also put the dependency between these tasks. Then from there, because the planning design approved, right? That's something which I again did, that went into the planning phase. So this is the way it goes, right? And eventually it will reach the place where the implementation is ready and I can merge the PR into the, right? So this is how the entire process will go, right? So if you see this actions, the set of actions, it would have gone through all of that, right? Front end, back end, all sorts of things it has done. Each of them, it asked me for approval, which I gave, right? So that way now what I'm doing is, technically I don't look at the plot or anything anymore. I just deal in terms of the issues and approving of the issues and adding more comments in that. And multiple people can do this now, right? Each of them are using the centralized Claude, right? They don't technically need to have their own Claude at all, right? They are just Jira issue approvers or adding their thoughts into comments. A couple of things happen here. Everything gets recorded out, right? Properly documented for posterity. Every decision can be traced back, right? So that's an additional benefit. That's of course there is a lot of documentation eventually, but at least there is traceability and all, which is very important for a larger company. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of a demo of things. I would love to have questions around this. I'm sure there are many questions. Yeah. Mukesh, you had some question?
Yeah, as you shown template, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how and where templates have created?
Yes. So that's the work GitHub concept, GitHub template, right? It can have, you can define different types of templates for issues, right? So this is one template that got added, right?
Okay.
So it just picks it up for this particular repository, right? Since that this repo has this .github and concept of issue template in it, it will show that also when you are creating a new issue, right? And you can update this. This is just a MD YAML file. You can make changes to it, right? And then add whatever you want in that. Cool.
So is it part of specs or have to create manually?
It is part of which spec?
Which you're on, right? Code review, story, kind of that. My template is also part of that.
Yeah. So if you see the software factory as a independent thing, then it comes with that issue template,
Okay.
default issue template, right? So all that you need to do is kind of install this. It also has a plugin which will go into your desktop, but that's not really necessary. You can just there are a few things like setup which is there, right? Once you do the initial setup, this will go into any code, any existing code, right? And it will follow that standard. Yes, Shivraj.
So how do we enforce to developer to have to follow this practice?
Now it becomes very simple, right? You put it in your code base, the project's code base. This is part of that, right? Which is checked in. correct? Now, by default, now there are two things. Now, in a way, you tell coders not to code, not to even look at anything, only raise Jira tickets or issues, right? Because that is going to trigger things, right? That trigger the workflow. So they don't have a choice in some ways, right? Of course, somebody has to enforce the fact that it will be issue driven. Every change that has to happen has to have a Jira issue, which is a standard expectations anyway, right? And it will trigger, and then you make sure that you look at your comment, you look at what is assigned to you. We can build systems around this so that it comes to you directly, right? In a system that, hey, this is a comment that has come for you, right? Approve this or what, so that user driven, like we can actually say that, okay, this kind of thing for this issue, this person is the approver for design, this person is this, and it should go to them, right? That's just a matter of building things around it.
Okay.
Yeah, Shivraj. You're on mute, Shivraj, in case you're speaking. Shivraj, you're still on mute.
Yes. Yeah. So if I suppose in my existing project, I want to adapt these things like
Yes.
factory dot intake and specification ready. So
Correct.
where I will get that templates and all the stuffs? It is on the GitHub only,
It
or
is on the Git.
sorry?
It is on the Git. I'll give you this. This is an open. I mean, I made it an open source project. Anybody can use this, right?
Okay.
So
But suppose if I something I will start to integrate with existing our project. Okay.
yes.
So these things entirely the code base needs to be add on the GitHub, or in my company, suppose I have the already in the project on the GitHub. So
Yes.
so how can we adapt the changes there so we can
Yes.
show some efficient work using this?
Yes. So there are, this is the step of how you can do it, right? You need to clone out this project, right? And with your, in your repo, you need to set up some labels because it needs those labels, right? The factory intake, this, that, right? So there
Okay.
are a bunch of labels that you can add it manually, but there is a script also, right?
Okay.
So you can do that. Then go to your repo, right? Whichever is your wherever
my
you
local
operate,
machine.
local machine. Then you have to add the OpenSpec in it that
Okay.
with Claude, right? And then there are a couple of steps to be done. There is you have to create a .factory folder, right? And inside that, this profile.json has to be added, right?
Okay.
This describes your project for the factory, right?
Okay.
So what you can do is like just give this as an input to say Cloud Code or whatever, use the best model, say ask it to build the profile.json out of your existing code,
Okay.
right? So one-time activity, then you can add that, right? These are not needed technically. This is if you are actually, if you want to add this as a Cloud plugin, right? But you
This
can do
all
that.
if suppose I have all this setup, okay.
Yes.
Currently we are using the cloud only for
Yes.
our development purpose. In
Yeah.
that case, if I try to open the you said that factory.explorer command on the command prompt.
You factory.txt, you don't have to do that actually. I was just saying another
I was thinking that it will be create some more efficient commands or for the future use as well.
it is going to be there. That is the OpenSpec command,
Okay.
right? But that makes it like a developer driven, right? What this is taking is you don't have to do that command. It will be automatically done for you.
Okay, got it.
Right? All that you do is you create an issue, which will internally do that OpenX explore.
Okay.
Right? So then, see, it's if you are assuming that let's do it through OpenSpec explore and all, it could so happen that Shivraj does it, Jamil doesn't do it. Right?
Okay.
It's on his machine, right? You don't have any access to it, any control on it. I mean, it is, you are telling people, do it this way,
Okay.
correct? From there to moving to a controlled way is what we are talking about here, right? Where there is nothing, it is automatic.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, Jamil?
Yeah, Jerry. So, implementation wise, or like from their perspective, I have one couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, one was like, whenever we are trying to use any agent orchestration tool like the LangGraph, so you had simply like replace that with the GitHub action. Am I understanding it correctly?
You can say that, yes.
Okay. And about that VM, so that VM part, in the end, I saw that, okay, that VM was also revoked, or only the credentials were revoked in the end, right?
When we look at the actions. Okay, one quick thing I will tell you before I get into that so that we don't forget about it. Now, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to add the, oh, not here. You're supposed to add your auth token here. So you can use any of that, right? There could be API token, or if you are using like the subscribed thing, then you can generate an auth token and set it up here, right? As a secret, which is what it uses, right? For all its work. So when it is coming to actions here, when it is doing the actions, I think that's what you are referring to, right? Factory pipeline. So when it is running the agent, were you talking about this, Jamil?
Yeah. I was talking about that. So in the end, it will remove the
Yeah.
credentials as well.
It will do
Like
everything. Correct.
So
This is
each
like a
time
temporary
one new
VM.
VM. So for that's where I was thinking.
Yeah.
But each time, whenever we are having an issue or any phase or any state where we are right now, will it
Yes.
create a new VM?
Yes. It will create a new VM every time.
So we can also, is there any way in which we can do it on our own local cloud, like which can follow those skills and like
Yeah,
on the VM cloud is running?
Some VM, the cloud is running.
Similarly, on our local, we can.
You could technically do that by, say, putting hooks and all, or actually, if you see Claude itself, right? It depends on the harness that you have, right? So, for example, if you take Claude Code, right, it allows you to create various different types of, say, dispatch and stuff like that, right? Which can probably say scheduler, which continuously keeps looking at what the Jira state changes have happened.
Got it.
Correct. And then it does the next step. I think you can do that also, right? So where, yeah, I think that's also a good idea. But then of course you are dependent on, in some ways, the desktop or a developer's machine, but you could also have like a dedicated VM where this is running, right?
Yeah.
But then how do you do it? Say, if you want to run multiple sessions, multiple issues are going on, right?
In that case, it will be local.
So in that case, I mean, we'll have to kind of engineer this. While in the current scenario, all of that can be simultaneously running multiple,
Yes.
right? Every issue is its owner is taking care of it, right? So all of that will be happening. So we are saying cloud versus your own in-prem, right? That's the thing that we are talking about, right? For in-prem, I think you will have to do it this way. I've not explored this, but Cloud, at least we are talking about Cloud, it should be able to support it. I'm sure Codex and all, they also support. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah, Kuldeep.
Yeah, Jerry. So Jerry, if like already have the existing application which is done by the vibe coding, so in
Yeah.
that case, like if we add this, so it will like create the all the specs and the required function itself, or what it will happen in that case?
Yeah, something that you have already vibe coded. Like that is what I also did, right? The example I'm showing now, right, was vibe coded by me earlier, right?
Right.
And now I am adding some structure to it. So it will work on that also. So that's the thing, right? First, when you take it in, right, you have to set the profile, and then the process starts. And after that, every time it will just follow the spec-driven process on top of it.
Will it like create the all spec required like XPyT spec or whatever specifications? So
Which spec? Sorry.
Like app spec, D spec, like you were saying, like function specification, those will.
Yes, so it has like the OpenSpec way of doing it, right? In terms of the formatting and all, you can add additional skills at your end, right? To control that, right? OpenSpec allows that. So I've not tried that out, but so you can kind of override OpenSpec's way of doing things, right? So now, for example, spec what it comes up with. If you want to follow some FDD or other standards, you can change that. Does that answer the question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ashish. Ashish, you have a question? You are on mute. Okay. So I can't hear you.
Hey, sorry,
Yeah.
Jerry, I was on mute. I was saying whatever you have shown related to the Explorer part and just setting up the spec or raising up the Jira. Is it like in a paid version or what it is, or you have subscribed to it, or it is your own project basically?
This is what I have created. This is my own project, the software factory, right? This is a open source. So you can take it up from here and try it out.
Okay. Is it like security safe, like taking up in a project that it won't create any issue?
I don't know about that. So I have not tested it much. Okay. So I see it is primarily doing OpenSpec related stuff. How secure it is. I mean, of course, I'll run Fable on that and it will tell me any security vulnerabilities. I've not done it yet, but I'll do that. Right. So I'll just share it here so you guys can check it out. I'll share it in the group also. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, start it if you can. That will be good.
No, I'll start it immediately because it is quite helpful rather than jumping from code CLI, Cloud CLI to the web UI and then to the code base basically. It
Try it
may
out. Yeah. Try it. I think it staging definitely these things have to be in your main, from what I understand right now, in your default for it to be used.
default branch, right?
Default branch, eventually it has to go there, which will make it like mandatory.
For everybody.
It will. So I will figure out what we can do in terms of the test mode so that you can try a few things out before you actually commit, right? I'll have to see. I'll try that out, right?
Okay.
But for now, what you can do is you can maybe come up with a sample project where you try this out so you get an idea of how to use it. Then you can introduce it in your company, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Jamil, you had another question? Your hand is up.
Sorry, the hand was on.
Oh,
Jerry,
Shivraj? Yeah.
yeah. Suppose I want to I want to add these all the configuration on my existing project. Have mentioned any document where I will get the steps of the execution of this?
Yeah, it is there in the software factory itself, right? If you go to that, right, you will see this install, right? It's the README there.
Okay.
It will have everything in that.
So I can give it to my agent and it can set up for me most of the things.
Yeah, it should be able to, right? If you just point it to this, it should be able to take care of it. The GitHub token also might be already there in it, right? So it should be able to take care of it.
So token wise, GitHub and Anthropic token.
Anthropic token is different. See, this is more for setting this up, right? Now, if you're running it in your agent, which is already connected to GitHub with that repo, it should be able to do this without you adding it because it already has that token.
But for Cloud Code CLI, right? In the VM.
Cloud Code CLI in the VM, you must have already connected to your repo, right?
Yes.
So it already has access to the repo, right? So this, so the point is you don't. Okay, we are talking about a scenario where you are making the Cloud CLI do this, correct?
No. I want to say I want to use it as you had intended only. But for still, I saw that shape where it was creating a VM and then VM CLI was also having credentials, right? So, or am I missing something here? Like we need only one token, GitHub.
See, this is the initial setup. Okay. See, the thing is, let's rewind that. So what is happening is you have your own repo, correct? To which you want to enable, correct? So now let us look at it from that perspective. You have this insurance app base, right? Which is I'm an insurance company. I'm working on this. I've got a code, right? Already running, correct? Now I want to enable this factory into this code, correct? So what do I need to do is I need to add this factory into enable this factory to work on this Git, correct? So there are two things. One major thing it needs is the concept of issue labels, right? Because it works on this labels. Is that clear? So I need to set up these labels first in my repo. Okay. So this is one part of the setup. That's the step one, you can say, right? So now you could do it either manually or you can use the script that is already provided by the software factory code, all right, to set it up for you, right? So you can do it that way, right? So that's the step one. Yeah. So this would have been done. After that, I am expecting you to do a couple of things in your repo, right? So these are the actions that you need to take. And templates just here. Okay, there are a few more things. I don't know why it has been commented out. Typically, I think this is there are certain this if you see are things where you can actually update. So you can set the models. For example, here in this case, what I've done is GitHub models, right? So I have said that intake should take Claude Opus 5, Claude Sonnet 5. Now that may not be available for you, right? So you can add that in the order. So you could do that also, right? So it will automatically check which model is available and it will default, it will take that up, right? Starting with the highest that I have specified.
We can add more than one model.
You can add, and this is the order. It will first go here, then it will try this, then whatever, right? So this you can update for your project, right? Then there is a bunch of approvers. Who needs to approve what, right? So I've given my username. You should ideally, of course, change this, right? Each of this, right? And then factory test request. This is the test it does for actually checking if a model is available or not. So I'm not sure about this, but yeah, these are the two things that you need to do right now, correct? And then of course this workflow also needs to be added, which would have been copied, right? And this issue template has to be added. So all of these are available in the software factory. You need to just take it from there and put it, or you can tell.
Sorry, I have a question.
So, Jerry, so what is the purpose of software factory? It is different from that.
Sorry, what is that?
Maybe I missed it. It is different from your code base, right?
This is the the actual thing, right? Which anybody can use and make their repo into a software factory,
Okay.
right? So this is where all the logic lies, right? The GitHub workflows and stuff like the factory pipeline and everything, right? All of this is here, and it hooks are there for various, and then various different scripts are there, whatever is needed.
So is already provided by you, or is the provided by GitHub?
No, it is. I have given that there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
So
factory.
this is a open source code that you can just take it. Yeah. Any questions?
So-
Okay, Tulsiram, yeah.
So what is the purpose of factory pipeline?
Question is,
Okay, I think let Mukesh finish. Tulsiram.
Yeah. So what is the purpose of two repo, right?
See, this is the actual software factory is the real repo, which is the set of skills and actions, and it has the what you can say the orchestrator, right?
Okay.
So okay, just a second. Is that clear? So see, insurance, what I have shown you is assume your project.
Okay.
Right? Now you want to enable that for it to be software factory, right? How do you do that? You use this, right? And actually inside this, it refers to the software factory for the entire workflow. So you don't have to add that, just a few things which have to be customized. That thing you add from the software factory, right? Otherwise, everything stays in the software factory itself.
Okay.
For your workflow.
Okay. So how do we start? If I want to start it, right?
Yes. So you can go to this software factory and just this is the here, right? All the install things are there. Just go through that. Yeah. Yeah. Tulsira, you had some question?
Yeah, just wondering what would be the role of a Scrum Master? Like, so is those tasks also been automated by the Scrum Master? I mean, if there is any priority of a particular type of scenario where there might be a decision taken by the team where the priority might be changes, right? Depending upon the tickets and all. It's just an out of scope, just
No. It makes sense. See, eventually, probably there has to be one state here, like which epic has to be taken up in a release kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the prioritization, right? So you could say that we could create something like a release thing. So not every issue, as soon as it is created, should not trigger, ideally.
Okay.
So that goes into a queue, right? And then there could be somebody like a Scrum Master who puts it into or says that, okay, approved for this, whatever. Or we can find a better way of doing it so that they are bunched together, and once they move into that state, they all trigger immediately, right?
Good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. I think that's something like that should be done ideally.
Yeah, depending upon demand, there might be a changes, right, by the project manager and all. That's
correct. It's a good point. I think not every issue creation should trigger, ideally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the tags that you have used, Jerry, I think they can be used also, right? It can be like, you have, okay, ready to, usually in Jira, what we do, okay, it will be in backlog. Once we move to do is when the engineer picks.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that can be the tag for that
Yes.
issue.
Correct.
Trigger the agent to pick up.
True. I think we could also look at, say, something like this milestone, for example, right? I have created a milestone, so I could take it back to that, right? So Jira, which is a milestone, has to be. I think that comes down to project management aspect of it, right? So I'll think through of that, but yeah, That's a very good point about where it should come from, right? Even that could be added in here. I'm trying to avoid any manual label change or anything, right? It should just be the process, correct? And which should trigger stuff, right? So that's the that's what I would ideally want to do. Cool. Any other questions? Anything? Or are we good here? So cool. Anybody else?
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, Mukesh.
Maybe I'm repeating the same question.
No problem. No problem.
So if I want to start, right, the
Mhm.
spec-driven development, so what approach, what roadmap I should follow?
One is understanding what is spec-driven development, right? As a concept, what are we talking about, right? And how is it different from, say, a vibe coding kind of an approach, right? Now we can say a vibe coding, the typical vibe coding that we are doing is also prompt first, right? We are giving requirement, right? So that goes in, based on that the code is generated, and then you keep on talking about the requirements on that, and you control the flow of that, right? That's the new way of doing it, which has moved from the older way where we went code first, right? Some documentation, agile, these things, right? Nobody cared. And then you just went to code and they did that. Now we have moved to prompting. In a way, we have gone to requirement first, right? Because we are telling requirements, and somehow managing the code to get there. From there, now the problem with that approach is it is highly undocumented. It's very random. There are a whole bunch of Claude sessions going on where things are happening, right? From there, I want to go towards a bit more standardized approach and a bit more reviewable specs approach.
Process oriented.
Sorry?
Process oriented.
Process oriented plus reviewable specifications, right? Creating detailed specifications. That's where I am going now, right? At least all of us have to go. And what does a spec look like? Typically in today's world, it's a Jira issue or a Git issue, right? Can that end up becoming a proper spec, right? And that then drives the next level of things. So your a whole lot of time now has to shift from coding to just thinking about the spec and coming up with the real good spec, real good design, design as a spec also. All of that are going on as an input will then create a real high quality code, right? So that's the change of mindset that we have to get into now, more than anything else. Okay. Kuldeep, you have a question?
So what skill set is required? Obviously, design thinking
Skill set, yeah. Okay. Just a second. Of course. I mean, that's a very good question. The ability to see what are we doing now, right? So this is actually a very, from what I have seen now, it becomes very taxing, to be very honest, right? Because now you have to read through so much, and this does create a lot of code, a lot of stuff, right? I think that can also be worked on in terms of how this can be better formatted and all. But your real skill sets now is, can you read through things? Can you analyze, think through, right? So design thinking is a larger concept. Yes, of course, design thinking is something that we need to do in terms of like coming up with the what issues and stuff like that, right? But a real thing is now asking questions, going deep into it, staying here in the spec as much as possible, reading through stuff, right? This is what we are going to be doing, right? Understanding, asking questions, right? Making a judgment. So these are the skills now, right? So that's what we need to focus on a lot, which is wonderful. I think there's nothing wrong in that. It's a and that's how it will be now. I mean, no matter what, this is where the things are going.
So to whom ask the question?
To who?
Means ask the question to whom?
To the stakeholders, right? You need to be At any point there is a stakeholder, right? And then you ask the right questions to the right stakeholder. Ideally, if you can even ask that in as a part of comment itself, right? If everything goes like that, right? In a documented manner, it just adds so much context to the LLM, right? That it can do a very good job. See, that is what happens in a typical software development, right? We discuss, but all of that gets lost somewhere, right? Hard to document, right? It is there in somebody's mind, right? I had a discussion with stakeholder who said something, there is no record of anything, right? All of that actually can be changed if we change our focus into that now, make that document, and then give the entire thing context to LLM. It will do a wonderful job of creating code, correct? So that discipline has to come in now. Cool. All right. Yeah, Kuldeep. Kuldeep, I'll just allow Sai Priya to ask a question. Just ladies first, and she has not asked earlier, so I'll just. Yeah, Sai Priya.
So Jerry, so my question is regarding how do we adapt this for a legacy project where there is no spec already? So first we have to create some spec, right? So
Yes.
is there any roadmap or list of actions that we can do to adapt this in a legacy project?
See, typically what you can always do is see, Claude also has ability to see when you do a Claude init, it can it can do that, right? It can clear a and you can spend initial some time building the context around it through the MD files and all of that, right?
Yeah.
That's a typical Claude stuff, right? And in a way, this profile also does it. And over a period of time, as you use this spec, it can keep becoming better and better, right? So if it is a very old, lot of things, right, you can spend some time initially giving it to Claude for it to analyze the code, come up with a complete structured MD files, a lot of documentation, right? So that is one work that you can do. So that becomes available forever.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
So then
Got it.
whenever the factory runs, it always looks at that and goes forward, right? And then as the factory goes through things, it creates more documentation, right? So that keeps on becoming better and better for you, right? Of course, all that could also mean too much of this MD files and too many things may result in a lot of token usage eventually, right?
Yes.
So that
But for
will
the first
always
time,
be.
it should be fine, is what.
Sorry?
For the first time, that should be fine because we
For the
don't have
first,
anything right now.
correct. For the
Yeah.
first time, it could be okay, but eventually it will become a problem. And then that has to be managed, right?
Yes.
So a lot of that actually in the software factory could also come, right? Because it is running the count every time. It knows, right? So many things can be added in that, right? Where it can itself tell me, right, what's going on. So there is a bunch of features that we can add into this.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Kuldeep.
Yeah, yes. Jerry, it might be a wrong question or not sure, but just want to ask, like previously in the other project, we were using also the cloud. So there we were not following this spec-driven process. But in the
Correct.
last project or the current project, we have like, as you said, the same process we are following. We having the space like functional specification, design specification, technical specification, test specification. So those all are documented in the Confluence. So we have set up with the MCP to get the all information from the Confluence and the Jira, GitLab. All we have done with the MCP. But the what the problem we are facing, like whenever we are giving those document to the cloud, it is like taking the more tokens. We like having randomly, like previously we are doing the normal prompting. So that time it was taking the very less tokens. But now by reading those all the specification document, it's like within 8-10 days it's tokens or like all it's gone.
It will happen because see more and more context, it will do better job, but of course there is so much more context it has to go through, right?
Exactly.
So you would definitely, the documentation itself will have to be better organized, right? So that in a way you can think of it as like what could be a tree structure of your documentation so that it doesn't go through everything, right? It should be kind of, in a way, at every given point have multiple directories, and then on top of it, say another MD file, which tells, okay, if you're discussing this, then go to this folder. So you will have to design your documentations and everything so that a lot of information is for that session, it uses the correct MD file. Correct? So this is more of a, now in a way, the graph engineering and all what like Pankaj also told about, right? I mean, not completely aligned with this, but how do you store your data? That is all data now. Correct? The documentation is data. How well you structure it, how will you allow your agent to find the right thing, so that it reduces the amount of token that it has to use, right? You can link it to say RAG kind of a concept, right? Eventually, you are trying to figure out what is the exact context that I need to pass for it to do the best job. Right? So see, that is what eventually most of the software engineers will be doing in a factory. These will be the problems to solve, right? How do I make the robot, which is there, very, very efficient and cost effective, and add more capabilities to it so that it keeps on doing a better job, right? So that will be one major thing that every software company will be continuously doing, right? So you can think of in a manufacturing domain, there are people who are constantly taking care of the robots itself, adding features to it. It's a never-ending thing, right? So that will be one major thing that we will do, cost under control, and it's like, so it's a very big field.
Sorry, on top of the same. So in that case, like you said, there are some repos which is like Graphify or something, right? So which can we like use those to like for the saving the tokens, like Graphify or those like which do the graph for all of the project?
Yeah, I think definitely all of that should help. I have not used it myself, so I can't. But yes, there will be some similar solutions that will come for sure, right? Which constantly keeps your documentation better organized, right? So Graphify, right, is one of them. There will be many other stuff which will come, because that companies will have huge document, huge context, right? Everything should be made available at any given point in time. It's a RAG problem, right? So we'll have many systems which will come up, many tools to take care of all of that.
Okay, yeah, got it, Jay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Manu.
Actually, I was checking with the Git repo, we are using GitLab at the office. So I was thinking whether there will be much more to do if we can follow the same in GitLab, as the examples are only on GitHub.
So I think this, like Jamil also had said earlier, see, it's about the orchestrator, right? So now what the software factory has two aspects to it. Like if you see here, let me. Okay, I don't know where that has gone, but so the OpenSpec, which is the process of the spec-driven development, is one part of it. The other is the orchestrator, right? Now, the orchestrator, I have made the GitHub Actions now. It could be others. It could even be something like LangGraph, LangChain, or Git. What did you say?
GitLab.
GitLab also might be having something similar.
Okay.
In terms of actions, right? Which you can add as the orchestrator in that, right? So, I mean, I would imagine this project itself having a lot of different adapters, so to say, right? For every type of orchestrator. and then it can actually just work with all of this.
So basically, this software factory project has to be there in GitLab too, right? If we need to integrate that with our own project in GitLab.
Yes. So, for example, in the software factory currently, the entire thing is about this GitHub workflow,
Yeah.
right? You probably would need to add a parallel version of GitLab, right? Maybe only this much, this pipeline and all that, like how it is done there. Plus, it does depend on the GitHub labels, right? So I don't know what is there in GitLab. So we'll have to figure out how to do it for different systems.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. All right. So maybe the last question before we kind of say bye. Anybody has any other questions right now?
Yes, Jerry, I have one last question.
Okay. Yeah, Pritesh.
So Jerry, if we implement this specification, right, so most of the things will go away, no need, right? So whatever current, because in our organization, it's very new concepts, right? No one has tried so far. And mostly we are following the existing, whatever we discussed earlier, right? SGLC scenario. And what are the agents I'm trying to propose now? So those will be not required anymore if you are going to propose this kind of specification driven development, right?
So what's the question?
So if you're going to implement this kind of specification driven development, then what are the types of agents I'm going to introduce? So like traceability metrics agent, DevX Java coding assistant agent. So those kind of agents are not needed anymore.
That will still be needed. What we would have to, because it doesn't do that, right? As of now. So we can add it into different phases.
Correct.
So these skills can be enhanced to do traceability at the end of it, right? So this has certain step of things, right? Certain phases, right? So while your agents are doing something specific beyond this, right? Now you can add that into this itself at different phases, right? So the orchestrator remains this, the phase remains spec-driven, but you can add some more additional steps into it, right? We can think about it. We can take a look at it.
I thought this is completely different, and those are completely different. How we can integrate, or how it will be different from those agents, and so that's a little confusion in my mind. Like,
no, they are not necessarily different. They are like micro phases within this phase, right? So we'll have to see that how do we plug in, like ideally I mean, if I'm thinking of this software factory thing, then I should allow any of the sub phases to be plugged in to a larger phase, right? There should be a way to do that, right? But okay. Yeah.
Because suppose if I am going to introduce this in our current organization, even if, with a small POC, they might ask lots of questions, right? If you already have this kind of things, then why you want to introduce this?
No, this is see, I mean, you can use this to begin with, right?
Yes.
It's a open source thing that you can take it, and then we can add more to it, right? In your case, you can add much more to it, right?
Correct.
So see, ultimately, it's what your company or any company will care about is like, did you solve the problem or not, right? Is the problem getting solved? And no problem is ever fully solved, right? It always needs enhancement and more things to be added, right? Customized, right? So that's what's going to happen, right? So OpenSpec, for example, it's just a starting point. Nobody is ever going to be 100% that. They will keep on customizing it, right?
Yeah, actually today I tried because right now I can directly install OpenSpec or GitHub Spec Kit, right? So I tried to mimic the similar modular skills, and when I tried on my office system, it worked somehow. At some point it worked, but I didn't implement it. But till implementation phase I went, but I didn't implement it. So it created all the specification, everything it was able to create.
Okay.
Based on the Epic.
Yeah. It'll work.
Yeah.
All right, Mohan. Final question. Yeah. Mohan, your voice is very low. Can't hear you.
Is it fine now?
It's very, very faint, but yeah, let's try. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jerry. Here in this presentation, like you shown, like we when we add some issues, like it will get picked up from the factory, right?
Yes.
So how does it pick? Like, is it like a cron job, or is it like whenever we add anything, it will pick up immediately?
So that's the what I've done is I have used GitHub Actions, right?
Okay.
The GitHub Actions allows you to create workflows, right?
Okay.
And the workflows are triggered by various different things.
Okay.
Okay, say a PR merge or an issue creation, you can put in that, right? So that is how I am doing it. And then it keeps on moving by updating the labels.
Okay.
Right? So the label of every issue indicates the state of it.
So basically, as soon as the issue gets created, it will pick it up. Is it?
Correct. As soon as an issue gets created, right? For example, here, sorry, where is that? So once an issue is created, right, it immediately the action gets triggered, right, under actions, right?
Okay.
So here you can see, right, factory pipeline has been started, right? It does its work then, what has been told, right? That at the end of it kind of updates the label of the Jira. That update triggers another thing.
Yeah.
So that's how you can kind of manage the entire state of this.
Yeah, and also at some point you mentioned the reviewers list, right? Like spec will be reviewed by some person and it will be differently. So when this review happens, like is it like how does it go? Is it go like a PR request or how is it?
It actually right now it goes as a PR, right, for each of them, and it actually goes to the email and everything, right, to the person who's assigned, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the GitHub infra, right? And then eventually I'm expecting them to say an approved, right? Or they can manually do it also through factory, right? So this is so you would get to see everything. It will tell, okay, go review this PR and merge it and all that, right? And then it approves.
Okay, so let's say like if we are trying to integrate this maybe like to a Jira board. So instead of having like a PR, will it be possible like to have it as a Jira comment to the story or something like that? So where it will
Yeah.
follow the comments and based on the comments it will proceed further.
Yeah. So the same thing now, this is done for Git. You probably need to do it for Jira.
Okay.
Right. So Jira will also have some sort of a workflow stuff
Okay.
there, right? So I've not done it for that yet, but it should be possible. The same, the orchestrator aspect of it, right, will need to be done by whichever orchestrator is available to you, right? We could,
Here everything is being done in GitHub, so else it will be done in Jira. So let's say like there is a combination of both, like for documentation, it's been used as Jira, and maybe like for code and or it's being used for GitHub itself.
yeah.
How flexible it will be like to merge
We
two.
can add like another orchestrator on top of it, maybe LangGraph, LangChain based thing, right?
Okay.
Which connects to everything, right?
Okay.
And then it controls the action then, right?
Okay.
So I mean, I would imagine something like this, a software factory will emerge into all of that, like a larger platform, right?
Okay.
Which can support anything.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, thanks, Gary.
Yeah. All right.
Jerry, one last open-ended question.
Yeah.
So you can answer accordingly, in whichever way you want.
Sure.
But if we see, like, if we want to, adopt this solution for a banking domain, enterprise grade organization, so what are the most important or more priority top two or top three things which should we work on to make it adaptable into a banking enterprise environment?
Oh, first of all, that banking or whichever company is should be open for using the AI as a coding agent. Is that?
Yeah, that is already there. Cloud code, open everything.
That is there. So that should be the first. Then, of course, this definitely calls for a rethink in terms of how the softwares are run, right? Because now we are changing the habits of, you're almost telling the coder that you're never going to look at the code, right? You're not even having a IDE, right? Of course, we have forgotten the IDE in some ways and moved to the CLI, correct? So people have in a way moved on from looking at the code. From there, we are saying that, hey, you're no longer even going to do that, right? You're going to be dealing with JIRAs and PR reviews and more becoming reviewers and all that, right? So that's going to be a big change in terms of how you train your organization, right? So for me, it's not a technical thing, much more of a mindset thing, right? Then, of course, for somebody like banking and all, I would say this is better than allowing people to just wipe code stuff, right? Without control, right? They definitely look for control. They look for traceability, right? What it does is it adds a lot of that, a huge amount of traceability, right? Which is great for them. But it requires a new way of going about it. Like Pankaj was telling, right? He is trying to do that. OpenSpec driven development itself is trying to introduce, it takes time. Not everybody wants to do it, right? Then I think Pritish is also facing something similar in terms of, so these are typical change management thing, right? When you're trying to change the behavior, there will be problems. So it will be a more of that. Somebody has to drive it from the top. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. And to be very honest, that kind of roles will become very, very important going forward, right? There will be, so they are the robot orchestrators, larger robot orchestrators who are actually making everybody follow this process. So, I mean, I'm assuming in the next 2-3 years, it will be pretty much in demand, right? Like always happens, like agile masters and scrum masters and all that, right? There will be these kind of folks who will be very much in demand. But it is then combine that with engineering. If you can keep on innovating and engineering these things, that kind of role forever will be in real need, right? Because every software company is going to be evolving into this now. This has to be their future, right? Whether they do it in now, 6 months, 1 year, it is going to happen, right? So cool. Great. Thank you so much, guys. I will share this in the group also. I will share this recording also. Try that. Try it out on your personal projects, whatever it is. Give me feedback. Maybe you can share it with others, whatever it want, right? So I think the more you try and work with it, the more you will also not only learn about how to do this, but how to think agentic and all that, right? It's a very good way of going about it. Cool. All right.
Yeah,
Glad to
thank
see
you,
you.
Jerry.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay, then
Thank
see you
you.
guys. Okay, have a great
Thank you,
day.
Jerry.
Bye.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.